Hello, hello, good evening, and welcome from a beautiful, sunny South Africa. I'm your host for Psychic Talk. My name is Priscilla Gendron. I'm a psychic medium and healer. And every week we bring together a cacophony of amazing speakers and people from all over the world. And tonight is no exception. One of my best soul family members of all time. Sorry, Suki. But David and I have known each other for such a long time, and he's such an incredible guy and has such an amazing gift. So it's always my pleasure and my honor to have him on board and have a beautiful discussion with him as we tap into all the wonderful things that goes on in that mind of yours. Welcome, David.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's so awesome to be here with all of you. Thank you for being here with us and for joining us. Appreciate you all so much.
I'm just so pleased and grateful. And yes, somebody told me, a little birdie told me it was your birthday yesterday. So we're wishing you a happy birthday.
It was. It was such an over-the-top fun birthday. And I still got my workout and my cardio in. I was so happy about that.
That's always important. So maybe just for people that don't know you so well, I mean, most people that are on tonight do know you, but for some people that don't know you, what is David Groode all about? You know, you started off doing a variety of different things, but what's led you to this point here today? You know,
wow, what a great and big question.
Exactly.
I came into doing readings very young, in my mid-20s, and people used to arrive for sessions and they'd knock on the door and I'd open it and they'd go, wow, can I just ask, how old are you? Because I looked so young back then. They couldn't believe that I was doing that work that I was doing. And it was a big thing to come into so young. And it took me so many years of doing sessions and learning about how the gifts work through me. And after 17 years in, I was able to define how the gifts work through me, and it really shifted and changed everything. And after that, I was learning how to manage it, so it wasn't managing me. And basically, they're up-leveling again, and I'm still learning about that. But what I would say is that it works like a navigation, like a GPS. So I can look at people a lot of times when I'm working with them on Zoom, and I can see where they're at, and I could see where they could be if they were to make some of their best choices and open up outside of certain parameters of thinking or ways of being, and how to reach that level of where I could see them being if they were out of their way, and how to identify the unconscious and conscious blocks and to clear them and get there. So it's kind of like an identifying where they're at, identifying what's in the way, clearing the blocks and the obstacles to get there, and creating a map, like a strategy that moves them forward. And if people work with the information that comes through, boom, they go to another level. And I'm really clear it's not me. It's just what comes through.
Exactly. And it's so important because, you know, I've been interviewing so many people that are psychic and spiritual and mediums and things like that, and numerologists like yourself. And everybody approaches what they do in how to help that person in a completely different and unique way. And your gift and abilities is no exception. I kind of almost feel like you bring in almost business, I'm not saying business approach, or a more logical approach to things, more logical solutions instead of what I would call my woo-woo side of things. You come in with straight answers and solutions and ways to fix them that they understand.
I would say yes to that. And I would also say I had one client tell me this last weekend or this last week that it was so much for her to unpack. It was like when she comes around me, it's like being in different orbits that are all spinning around. And so the sessions can be a lot for people to unpack. But if they work with it and they take the time to go through it and open some of those doorways, it's amazing the healing that comes through, the transformation, the breakthroughs people have. And, I never know when people are going to come back. So I really do my best to pack in as much as possible while I have them. And
Yes.
because I know the impact that it's going to have with the other people that they're going to meet and touch in the world is going to be so huge. It's just going to transform our whole world for the better. And our world needs it.
Very much so. It's kind of like what I feel like you almost do. You give them a download. You push that button, download, and it sits. And sometimes a download can take a while, to process in the person. So you give them all this information and they go away and it starts to process slowly. And I always feel like that's such an amazing gift to have as a psychic and as a person that likes to help somebody else, because you kind of are doing psychic healing in a sense. You're giving them the healing they need to move forward in their lives.
I would say that the way the gift works through me is it wakes people up in different areas of their lives and supports them to switch their light switches on to really, go boom in different areas that they want to focus on.
Exactly. And it just feels like, especially now over the last couple of years when the world has gone crazy and thrown their toys out the cot, literally, I feel as if so much of the stuff that we thought we had long time buried or had not resolved or had not dealt with and stuff is now all coming to the surface. And I think it's making people much more aware of like, oh, I don't want to do this 9 to 5 anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to rather be here and I rather want to do that or follow my own instincts. And I feel like that's so important because somebody like you can say, okay, here's the pros and cons of it all. This is how you deal with it.
Yeah. And I want everyone to know that I've been in my relationship for 9 years now. And we have had in those 9 years, 10 major moves, visa processes going the whole time in different countries, 2 renovations and 5 cars. So I've been through the yin yang with change management. So it's an area I'm really gotten quite skilled and adept and comfortable at moving through and supporting other people to move through changes, because that is constant, people. We are always getting to create and adapt with all the changes. And it's exciting. And, people just get to let go of their fear around it and breathe and go, yes, awesome, welcome.
Exactly. You kind of give them the no frills approach. You get rid of all the bullshit and you just give them the no frills approach to getting their life back on track. We've got a lovely Maggie Sergio is on, and David has been waking me up for over 20 years.
Thanks, Maggie. You're so awesome. So great. Been so rewarding and such a gift for me to know you and get to work with you and connect with you always.
Oh. And I think that's important because I think if for people like us that do the work that we do, I always say to people that are training to be this or stepping into this kind of world, you know what, take responsibility for whatever comes out of your mouth, because your words have power. And not just in our work, but in a lot of things where you are helping other people. Your work, your words have got power. And so what you say to others is going to be significant to them to help them with their change.
And I want to tell people, I'm not perfect. I'm always working on myself. I'm always clearing things within me and around me. And, it never stops. Our clearing never stops. Our whole tour through here as human beings. We're always clearing. And the more we clear, the freer we are.
Very much so. I've just been reading an amazing book called Did You Pack Your Bags? And it's about, all the stuff that we pack in our bags and we drag them along the road. And at some stage we have to stop and unpack everything because, the next part of the journey, you can't take all that stuff with you. So it's like old belief systems and things like that. So I feel like, we're at that stage now, especially this year, with all the changes and the fifth dimension and all the changes happening on a cosmic level as well. It's, I think, quite a lot for people, especially for people that don't understand this world or understand as much as we do. So can you maybe sort of let us go down that rabbit hole a little bit?
Well, the big white elephant in the room that I'd like to mention here is the ascension process that's occurring.
Yes.
And
that's where I was thinking.
Yeah. So a lot of people aren't even familiar with the fact that there's an ascension process occurring right now. So let's talk about what that is and what that means. And it's more important than ever right now for people to do their clearing. Okay. And really, forgive themselves and to let go and release things that are no longer serving them, that they've been carrying. And to really clear and let go, recognize, clear, and let go of all their negativity, any of their fear, any of their shadow pieces, which are the things that they would rather pretend aren't there, or that they're in denial of, or would rather not admit, or things like that, things that they're not proud of. And so our planet is being moved. The location of our planet is being moved. We are moving trajectories into a different area where we are going to be part of a much bigger universe that is connected with Andromeda. And this is in our lifetimes now. Yay. And what's happening is the Earth there's a split happening of consciousness. And there's the new Earth, which is moving or in the 5D, moving into the 5D, in the 5D, going deeper into the 5D. And those who are ready are going to shift and be on that new Earth, which is filled with light. And others who are not ready, who are still clinging on to their attachments to the 3D structures and way of being, and their limitations of the everything that comes with and all the constructs, they're going to be in the 3D Earth, which is going to be more ruled by shadow. So it's very, very clear that we are in the process of ascension, and our bodies physically are changing. Our DNA is being activated, the dormant parts. And so it brings more of an opportunity to awaken now more than ever, and to be part of that party. It is a party. While our biology is changing more into a crystalline kind of a structure, and which will give us more freedom and more mobility as we move into the new Earth and ascend with the Earth. And there's been talk about a great solar flash coming from the great central sun, that when it hits this world, many people will have spontaneous healings or awakenings. And that's when the light switch kind of gets turned on, and we're like, boom, on our way, full speed in the ascension process. It's been happening gradually, so more people can come and be part of it, who are ready to be ready. And by the way, people, being ready is when you choose to be ready. Once you decide to be ready, you're ready. I learned that from my second ex. So, yeah, it's good to learn
Yeah,
things.
because it's true. And I think that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. How do you know when you're ready? So you kind of answered that question. You have to just be ready. But what can people sort of do in the meantime to sort of get themselves to that readiness?
Everybody, do your best. We can only do our best. Okay. Don't put yourself through a head trip like, oh my God, I don't want to miss this. What if I miss it? What if I totally mess up? Don't do that to yourselves. Just do your best. Be a good person, be in your heart, help others, do your clearing, keep your vibration and frequency raising, which means clean diet. Hard with the GMOs and things in the States, but just saying, clean diet, exercise, having a spiritual practice can help. I think opening up people's creativity really unblocks a lot of things and brings a lot of joy. So thinking outside the box and thinking creatively and opening up your creativity, boom. And connecting with your inner child and giving your inner child more of what she or he wants, awesome. Because they're going to open the doorway to be able to go through the ascension, your inner child. So it's super important you have a relationship with your inner child for this ascension process, and to be able to be grounded and feel safe in your heart and safe in you to trust yourself with what your soul and heart decides as we go through that whole process. This is a gift to be here on the planet at this time. It's a great reward, and our world has been through it, and there's been so many dark forces on our planet, and they're in the process of being cleaned out. Bye, Felicia. That's all I have to say about them. Yeah.
Felicia.
So, it's going to be quite the party. And, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take a little bit of time to clean up our world. But, we all have the ability and the capacity to say, yes, I'm showing up for it. I'm here for this. I'm going to make it happen. And, it's really up to us. There's been so much corruption in our world, so much abuse, so much abuse of power. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. And it's all just bubbling to the surface now. And now there is no more shadow, and you can't hide in the shadows anymore. It's all bubbling to the surface now. And so it's kind of like the planet is getting a cleansing completely.
Yeah. And you really want to not have your saboteurs running your lives, with some of your decision-making choices and addictions. Time to clean up the addictions, people, so you raise your frequencies and vibrations. What are you addicted to? Because what makes it an addiction is you love it more than anything else, And do you really... It
controls you, not you control it.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want your saboteur driving your car in your decision-making process through your life. Okay?
Exactly.
Who is making your decisions inside you? Is it your inner child who's charming and sweet? Is it your wild teenager who's rebellious and likes to do things their own way? Is it your powerful adult that's responsible? Or is it your saboteur who you don't want in the driver's seat?
That saboteur can be quite hectic.
Yeah, these are the kinds of things I work with people like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What's in your heart?
Exactly.
Why don't you believe you can have that and create that? And
there is a lot of that going around. And I think people still fall into those categories like automatically, because they're kind of wanting to say to themselves, oh, I don't know if I could, or I don't have enough talent, or I don't have enough XYZ.
And people stop themselves from giving as much as they could because they don't feel they have anything to give. And that's not true. You could write people nice cards or messages. You could call them. You could show up for them in some way. There's so many different ways that you can give, And if you're tight with your money, then give with your money. Then give money if you're tight with money, because it'll just break you through. Exactly. Wherever you're tight or feel contracted, just give more.
And that will help to sort of unblock everything in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I think that sometimes we do that. We don't do things out of lack, but maybe we should be doing it even though there is the lack.
Oh, my allergy pill's finally working. So happy.
Yay!
Anyway, what I want to say here though too is, and it's also about opening your capacity to receive, to allow in, and to be able to connect with your intuition, your spirit guides, to know who they are, to know who your support team is, to know, to be able to get what they want to tell you or communicate with you.
Yeah. That's important, because I think those are the people that should be helping you and guiding you through the various stages of your life going forward over the next year or so.
Yeah. And for those of you that are addicted to the mainstream news and like to watch it every day, wow, what are you filling your impressions with? It's mostly all lies and not really worth any of your energy and time. You'd be better off looking into alternative news sources which have more truth and honesty in them, that are not so manipulated and controlled and part of the 3D matrix that is in the process of dissolving.
Yeah, it's like watching a movie with a bunch of actors, and it's real life, or supposed to be real life, as they say. But yeah, I feel as if there is so much that is happening, and so many people are changing and being able to have their eyes opened. More people than I thought actually would do that. So for me, that's been quite an eye-opener for myself, who has already got her eyes open, to see how many people that I thought would never open their eyes that have.
Yeah, and for those of you who have already had sessions with me, I'm really recommending that you give Priscilla a go and have a session with Priscilla and book in with her. She's amazing. And she's like a soul sister to me, and she's amazing at what she does.
Yeah, David and I have known each other for a long time. I think since Aaron was about 2 years old, I think we've known each other.
Yeah, a long time.
And he's 19. So it's been a long time that we've known each other. And I also had the privilege of him coming to South Africa and spending time with me. And
we knew
just such an incredible journey.
We knew each other way before South Africa.
Oh, yes, way before then. But it was so incredible to see the journey we've taken since then. I mean, I was just looking at some of the photographs that we did of the numerology course you did, and the time that we spent together and things like that. And I was just going over that and seeing how our journeys have changed and the places we've been and the things we've done in those years. And that can help so many people to better understand that life is this ever-changing journey that we have to go on.
Yes, and everybody deserves to travel the world and to experience and see different countries and learn how other people think and live. And what a gift to be able to give yourself.
It is. It's incredible. And I look at people and I think that, over the last, I would say this year, how much people have changed and evolved just in this space of 8 months. How many people have actually just had their hats ripped off, in a sense, like their glasses ripped off. And for the first time, just seeing the truth of who they are, who they need to be, the journey that they need to go on. But there are others that are just so stubborn and just stuck, and they just sit with their little blinkers on and don't want to change.
Yeah.
Those ones you can't help those people. You have to just give them the stuff. If they're willing to work on it, they can. If not, then it's their decision.
And people get so attached to their point of view. I'm like, really? So we really get to make the love bigger than the points of view, people.
Yes. And it's so difficult, to sort of like not want to spoon feed people, to give them the answers and stuff. You've got to give them the stuff and they've got to go and process it themselves.
One thing I will say to all of you that will really boost boost you on your path of ascension is to open and expand your joy and keep creating things to look forward to that are in your heart, and do things that are going to really boost your joy. But also, at the same time, identify and ask yourself, is this a healthy choice? That's huge for people, just to be able to identify if something is a healthy choice. Then the second part of that would be, once you identify it as being a healthy choice, it's implementing it, which is also huge for people.
Yes.
And then after you're able to implement it, it's about being consistent with it, which is also huge for people. So it's identifying, is this a healthy choice? If it is, great. Implement it, and then be consistent with it.
Because I say, you can have all these things, but the moment you become consistent in doing it, or consistent in changing the way you think, if you do it every day, then it automatically becomes the way that you live.
And you don't want to be you want to have clear boundaries with toxic people.
Yes.
People that are not in their light, people that are choosing, not healthy choices, or to be in their addictions, or even worse, narcissists, sociopaths, things like that. You really need to have clear boundaries with these people. You're not obligated to be around them.
Okay, so what if you feel that you have to be around them, or you feel obligated to be around them?
To take care of a family member's health, then just have clear boundaries with them. When you share information with people, it becomes their information as well. So you have to ask yourself, how much of my life do I feel like I need to tell them?
Exactly.
Because
at some stage you've got to go and do it for themselves.
And a lot of those people who are, sociopathic or narcissist, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They'll just completely take advantage.
Exactly. So Suki put, she says, I think, I feel, I do, and I continue to do.
Suki,
well put, Suki. That's exactly.
Suki, you're a living example for all of us. You're so beautiful inside and out, and you have such a bright light. You just get to be the joy of you, and that's the gift.
Exactly. She's also one of our beautiful soul family members. And we have lots of them, which is great. So looking forward for us, like as in, okay, we're in August now. So what things do we sort of look towards now till the end of the year? Because I know you said we're going to go into like a Mercury retrograde, which puts the scarper on a few things.
Oh, the Mercury retrograde can make people bonkers. That's from August 23rd to September 15th, which is not an ideal time for signing things. If you have to sign agreements or contracts, make sure you understand every single word.
Yes.
Or have a professional look it over, somebody who's a qualified professional, not just someone who thinks they're a professional.
Yes.
So the Mercury retrograde just can bring travel delays, takes longer to get places, unexpected rerouting, mechanical breakdowns, technological breakdowns, communication breakdowns. People can get the dates wrong, the times wrong, the directions wrong. It can be quite crazy making. And the big thing about it is people change their minds a lot, so it can bring cancellations, changes of plans, changes of thinking. Things don't land in the way we think, and a lot of rescheduling. But it's good for anything with an RE in front of it, like redoing, rethinking, resubmitting, any RE word.
Exactly. So it's about just clearing the decks. And if all else fails, just stay in bed under the duvet and wait it out.
Yeah, it's good for going to spas and movies and things like that.
Yeah,
I really feel there's going to be
me time.
Yeah, I really feel there's going to be another. I think they're going to try and do another health scare in our world, so that could come about.
Yeah.
But aside from that, there's going to be another amazing shift, big shift of things that occur energetically and in our world before the end of the year. Big shift. And then another huge shift, huge, in 2025.
25.
Now, remember that solar flash I talked about that was coming from the heart of Creator at the great central sun towards our world? Yes. My friend Mana, who is born awake, he says the solar flash is always happening within us. And I thought
that's an interesting way to think about it.
I thought that was really amazing.
And I feel, okay, so if there is a massive solar flare, it's a massive awakening, isn't it? If you take it from his point of view, it's a massive awakening. So if everybody awakens at the same moment or same time, that's when the flare occurs, isn't it?
Yeah, and I want to say one other thing here too. For those of you that are still watching the mainstream news every day, or tuning into all of that, you probably have a drama addiction that you don't even know about.
Exactly. Because it's like a soap opera, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. I mean, we all like to watch a good movie, but still,
yes.
I have one friend who I just absolutely love, but they are so addicted to drama. They can never get enough of it.
Yes.
They look for it.
They look for it, exactly. And it's important for them to feel validated if they have the drama in their lives. And Suki sent a beautiful message on this thing. She says, when you are surrounded by beautiful souls as you both, it is easy to be in joy. Well, Suki, we feel the same way.
I also want to mention there's certain movies like, Schindler's List. When you see these movies, they're so powerful. They always stay with you. You always remember them. And
yes.
Even though it's a very heavy topic about child trafficking, Sound of Freedom is not graphic. It's more suggestive, and it tells a story of a guy who rearranged his whole life to rescue trafficked children. And that movie is so powerful. I think everybody needs to see it. It's do whatever you can to make it happen and go see it.
Yeah, I saw it, and it did. It is very subtle in its language, but so powerful in its message.
Yeah, and I was really surprised too. On my birthday yesterday, I went with a friend and we went to go see the movie Barbie. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it just, for the creativity and everything. I didn't know what to expect. When it first started, I was like, uh-oh, is this whole movie going to be like this? But when it got going into the whole story and kept moving through, I was really pleasantly surprised, and so was my friend. It asked a lot of deep questions, and the story showed a lot of things that we could all take a look at, and it was totally worthwhile seeing. I'm so glad I saw it, and I'm so glad I got to see it on my birthday yesterday.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it just feels there's so many stories coming out now in the form of movies and stuff like that, Sound of Freedom and things like that, that are making people awake and be more aware of what's actually really going on. Remember I said to you before about everything bubbling up to the surface and all the shadows disappearing because we are starting to shine the light. And our lights are getting so much stronger that they're shining into these dark shadows and dark places so that even the Sound of Freedom has got a light.
Yeah, and there's this great series on YouTube. It's just, they're all in numerical order. It's the Tony Rodriguez Breakaway series. And that, you really have to have an open mind, but wow, that's a wow. And he's written 2 books. I haven't read his books yet, but the series was really powerful because there is a lot of trafficking. And here's the mind-blowing thing. Not all the trafficking people are kept on this planet. Some are taken off planet. So you all really get to open your minds. You
Exactly.
know, the fact that slavery still exists in our world and that children and women and people are trafficked, that's shocking. And it doesn't say a lot about our species.
No, it doesn't. Because for me, it feels like, have we not learned over 200 years? It's still occurring. It's still happening. Nothing. It's just changed and it's just evolved into something different and something cosmetic. You know, they put a cosmetic thing on it and it turns into something different, or they make it into an invisible thing, or put a screen up to not allow people to actually realize that this is still going on right on your doorstep.
And for people that are using their spiritual gifts destructively or for the negative, your karma is coming. You're done. Bye.
Yes.
You're out of here. God's not going to put you on
definitely. And that's important because so many people are just, being exposed and everything is coming to light. The ivory tower is crumbling finally. And I feel like that's important for people tonight who have the light, who have the foresight, who have the vision to take themselves and the people around them on this journey. I think it's so important that we are able to shine the light and give them a lit path, in a sense, so that they can take their steps onto the right path as well.
Just be the best you can be, people, and ask yourself if you're making your best choices in different arenas.
Exactly. That's important. If you've got any questions for David and myself, please put them in the chat box and we can answer them. Because I feel like, sometimes people can hear everything that we're saying, but they don't quite know how it applies to their lives, or how can they make it more part of their lives, things like that.
Yeah, and if you ask a question, like if you want me to answer it, please put the month you were born and the day you were born. I won't announce it out loud. I just do it for the numerology that I look at with your year you're in and things like that.
Because for you, numbers are very important.
I don't know
that the world.
I don't know how. Math was my worst subject and still is, but for some reason I can do numerology.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? But you're so good at it, and that's the whole point, is that you're so good at this. And it's amazing when you tell people exactly the kind of year they're in, and the kind of person they are, or the career that they need to follow because of their birth number. I feel like it's so important. The same thing works onto the astrology as well. If they have their astrological chart of like how they're born and the month and day that they're born and things like that, that helps them a lot. So
I just heard someone was having problems typing their questions.
oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So here is a question here. I've popped it onto the screen. 628.
Yeah, we're not
66.
supposed to announce the birthdays.
Okay. All right. She's okay.
Okay. Wow. For Alma, you are in a year where you either go deeper into an already existing relationship or you meet a new relationship. This year is going to have so many amazing dynamic changes for you. And it's going to bring you more emotional fulfillment, more prosperity, travel if you want. Great for communicating, great for getting the word out. I do feel a book coming. So you're in a much better year right now. And just the master number 11 is connected to the angelic realms, and it has to do with discernment. Why am I choosing what I'm choosing? Is it my best choice? What's the motivation behind it? And who inside me is doing the choosing? Is it my saboteur? Is it my teenager? Is it my inner child? Is it my adult? Everybody needs to make sure their inner child is managing the right areas of life. Yes. My inner child used to manage my money. Oh my God.
I was going to say the same thing.
Oh my God. It took me years to grow him up. And now I'm finally starting to see a difference. It took a long time and a lot of work.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. So, Delma Road, anything on the Lionsgate portal that opened yesterday?
Do you want to say this one, Priscilla?
Go on.
No, go.
Say it. No, you go. You're the lion. You're the lion.
It was a real opportunity for everybody to up their game with the Lionsgate and to really connect with their joy and their courage and to really be authentically aligned with themselves and what they came here to this world to accomplish. That's my short version of it. So it was like an upgrade energetically.
It is. And I think also because we've got the two supermoons on either side of it, I think that has just amplified it and made it like 10 times stronger or 10 times more profound. So I always say to people, when you're going to go through this phase and the Lion's portal, you need to be able to understand, like, be careful what you wish for, because you're going to get it, and you're going to get it in spades, and you're going to get it, quite a lot of it. So it's so important that you understand it fully. So, okay, then
1 second.
There's another, what? There's another message.
Let's do Suki's question, and then I have another great question that just got written out here for me.
Okay.
So, Suki, let's see. You have divine protection this whole year, which is brilliant.
Oh, nice.
And I feel so many things coming through you that you're still in the process of refining and integrating some of them. But it's really bringing you, up-leveling you. You're really up-leveling your whole game and everything you're doing. And I feel you going even bigger on a global scale level. So that's really exciting too.
Fantastic.
Pay attention to New York when it comes up. Okay. Oh,
and you keep seeing the number 444 all the time.
4 is foundation, but it's also the heart. The heart has 4 chambers. So it represents self-love and building a foundation that feeds our heart. And in this case, it's triple. And anything triple is like really like plugged into the Trinity energies of the God force. So it's like on a whole cosmic level of love and expanding that love and building a foundation of love.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, this is a really fascinating question.
Okay.
There are so many more narcissists and negative people becoming apparent. I've noticed that too. Either that or we've been able to define what that is.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why? What's the best way to deal with them? Will they be checking out if they don't shift? Wow. That's a big...
That's a loaded question, that, eh?
Yeah, it's great. All right. Well, I know that God is taking all the people who are really evil, who aren't shifting, out of this world. That's a done deal. And people that aren't using their spiritual gifts of the light, boom, they're going to shift out of this world. As far as narcissists, you know, some of that is people say, oh, they're not always aware of their behavior. I think some of them are very aware of their behavior. I just don't think they have a control or handle of it on it.
Yeah.
Why there's so many, I think part of it is we've been able to define what a narcissist is.
Yes.
And so many people haven't cleared their programming or their deeper wounding, the triggers around their deeper wounding. And a lot of the narcissists, have been abused in the past, I would say too, or have had a really deep wounding. So they kind of become the abusers. I'm not an expert on it, people. There's 2 really great accounts on Instagram where people can read more about narcissists. One is Narcissist Nab, and I'll tell you what the other one is. I have to find it. 1 second. I can find it fast.
You got speed.
Healing _ out loud. Healing _ out loud. That's a great account on Instagram about narcissists, and so is Narcissist Nab. But the best way to deal with them is to not share too much personal information, because they just use it against you or take control, and to have very strong boundaries about how much you give, because they might take a mile if you give them an inch. And so the boundaries is the main thing, and to not share too much personal information, and to it's when you really challenge them, that's when they can go ballistic. They don't like to be challenged. With a narcissist, it's their way or the highway.
Exactly. So the numbers are 111 and 1111 every day. So what is that representative?
Again, it's a number with three numbers of the same. So anything with 3 numbers is representing the Trinity. 111, my numerology teacher, Gail Marie Sprague, she's now in the light. She told me that 111 is the highway of the celestials. So it's a pathway of the celestials traveling through. And so that's that cosmic connection with celestial beings, heavenly beings.
And connection to the angels and the angelic realm as well.
Everybody needs to be amplifying your light. Everybody. And amplifying the light, because the energy in the core of the earth is pure love.
Yes.
And that's accelerating everything. And we need to align with that.
Very much so. You need to see the light.
Mm.
So Isfan says him and his spouse both have the birth dates that come to 29/11. What does that mean for their relationship?
Hang on, I just
So
had 3940. So hang on. Oh, both of you are in a good cycle that could either bring a major move or a redesigning of where you're living and a lot of opportunities. And after your birthday, it's a lot of discernment over the next year. Discernment about what you're choosing. You want to go for long-term value rather than temporary and fleeting. We all need some temporary and fleeting just as a buffer to be in this world. But there's healthy choices and not healthy choices for temporary and fleeting. Because if we tune out too much, we don't tune back in.
Exactly.
So there's travel too in the next year as well. And they have a lot of discernment. So just put your energy into what has long-term value. And you're going to have some really strong spiritual openings and connections with your guides, which is brilliant.
That's going to be amazing for them. I think that's going to be very good for them, for both of them. Okay, so we've got one more here. That's Linda.
Hang on, I'm just looking at the birthday.
Yeah.
2 plus 6. 67, 38. Okay, so it's been about work and relationship and exploring hidden areas within you and moving more into the unknown. Okay, let me just see the question. The tension lines are part of the shifts that are happening for the ascension. I really get some turmeric would be good, although I can't prescribe things, but you could look into taking some turmeric for the tension lines in the body. I also want to make you aware of something I really like a lot, and that's vortex healing. It's a healing path and an awakening path. If you look on vortexhealing.org, if you don't know about that, the foundation class, the first class is 5 days, and it clears a lot of karmic knots. It shows you how to clear karmic knots. And every class you take in Vortex certifies you as a practitioner on that level. So I feel you bringing some different healing modalities together along with your massage practice. And that feels really good to me.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. I can attest to that. 1,000%. She is incredible.
She in South Africa?
Yeah, she's down the road from me. I've had the benefit of that therapy.
I love South Africa so much. If anybody hasn't been to South Africa, wow, you definitely deserve to experience it and go. It's one of my most favorite countries ever.
Yeah. So Isfan says, thanks, awesome revelation. Okay, so Christiane has just put her date of birth.
Okay. Wow. Christiane, you've been in a pretty good cycle with, a few moments for sure. But after your birthday, you're in such a big growth cycle. It's going to feel like one big push because you're going to feel like you have to respond to everything at once. So it's going to be a big push and stretch. Okay, you can do it. And right before your birthday of 2024, you have guaranteed success and a happy outcome. So congratulations. But up until then, you're going to feel really pushed and stretched, responding to everything.
Yeah, she is going through a lot in her life at the moment.
You really got to take care of your body, and you really got to make sure your sleep is good and that you're managing your stress levels well. and your nervous system. Take care of your nervous system.
Yeah, definitely. That's very appropriate. And Linda says, thank you, David. Very interesting. So she's got a lot to process and think.
And by the way, Linda, the vortex healing classes, most of them are online. So you can do them from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, she's definitely growing, expanding. She's an awesome person. So what words of wisdom do you have for us as we sort of end our session today, going forward for, say, the rest of this year?
The ascension is real, people. Don't think it's out there and woo-woo and not happening. It is happening. We are in process of it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's about time we take the choices we make in our lives and we start to implement them. You know, we can't sit on the sideline anymore and pretend these things aren't happening, because we're going to just get left behind. So we'll miss the bus, as they say. You know, you've got to get on that bus and take your journey forward. That's important.
Absolutely.
So, final words of wisdom, Mr. Groode.
Love yourselves. Really love yourselves. Really allow yourselves to experience and feel the gift of who you are, and to get, if you got yourselves in the way that other people see you and experience you, the love that you would allow in for yourselves would be on a whole other level.
Exactly. And I think that that's so important for everybody. We need to love ourselves because, you know, this is our journey for where, you know, and this is the journey we're taking. So we've got to love the journey we take.
Yes.
Exactly.
And do work with the nervous systems, people. There's a lot there. So anything that's going to settle the nervous systems down a little bit so they're not so amped up. Take some technology breaks, even if it's for a half hour or an hour.
Yeah. Unplug, as they say.
Absolutely. Because that all has a big impact on the nervous system.
Very much so. So if anybody would like to contact David, his email is david.innerprecision@gmail.com, and his website is www.innerprecision.com. And as David is such an awesome human being, he's having a special offer in the month of August. So if you book a reading with David, you will also then get a free 1-hour coaching session with him. So, and that's something not to be missed. So with the contact details in the link, just give him a shout and he will be able to book a session. And then you get your freebie as well. Another whole hour with him, which is awesome.
And another thing, if for those of you that have already had sessions with me, I really recommend Priscilla's work and her sessions as well. She is phenomenal.
Thank you.
So you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Priscilla.
Fantastic. Suki said that went too quick. Could listen to the two of you for hours. Bless you both. Thank you, Suki.
Thank you, Suki. Bless you. Love you.
And I think just remember to contact David. You can email him, david.innerprecision@gmail.com. So it's always my great pleasure and honor to sit and chat. And David, you're right. We can sit and chat for hours and hours and hours, but we both have things to do.
We all get to really cherish the people we love and our time with them, and
exactly.
not take any of that for granted. We really get to enjoy life and cherish being with the people we love that are important.
Yes, very much so. And it's so important to be able to say that to them as well. You know, sometimes we go through stressful times, and that's what you're saying about the nervous system and getting rid of the stress and things that are promoting that in your life. And I think that's important. So hug a tree.
The nervous systems right now are a huge deal for people. So just something to pay attention to.
very much so. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. And I want to thank my special and amazing guest, Mr. David Groode, all the way from the USA. Thank you always for being there when I put the call out and to be a part of my amazing journey as well, going forward.
Thank you. You are such a blessing and gift in my life, in our world, and thank you for being in it, and thank you for having me, and I just love you and adore you, Priscilla. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us, and join me same time, same place next week, Wednesday, as I have another amazing guest who's going to give us some more enlightenment. So thank you, everybody, and good night.